Hey, what's up guys? Sean from Triggered Precision Machine here. Today we have another rifle review for you guys. So this is two back-to-back. I know some of you probably want to see some more shooting stuff, reloading stuff, but this is kind of important stuff because it shows the wide range of stuff that I can build. And we've been building a lot of really cool stuff in the shop lately. This is one of the projects that I've been working on for a little while and it finally came into fruition. So let's go over this rifle, and the reason I want to review this rifle is it hits at a different price point than some of the other rifles I build. This is a much cheaper option for someone who's looking for a custom or a semi-custom, as I would call this, target rifle or hunting rifle. So without further ado, let's get right into it. All right guys, we'll start out by reviewing the stock, or the chassis if you will. So this is MDT's new field stock. They came out with it maybe a month ago or so. Impressive stock. The retail price on this stock is $299. I can give you guys some of the other specs on it, but bang for the buck, I don't know if there's anything else that can beat this. I used to say that about the MDT XRS chassis, which is kind of, I would consider that the target version of this chassis, but this thing for a multi-purpose chassis for a bargain gun that still is very capable, this is really, really tough to beat. $299 retail. So some of the specs on the chassis for those of you who are interested, it's a little heavy. MDT quotes it as 3.1 pounds depending on the rifle. To call it a field stock, I would like to see the chassis around maybe 2.5 pounds or so, but we're talking a little over half a pound. So in the grand scheme of things, not that big of a deal. It's robust. It has an aluminum chassis in there where the receiver mounts to, AICS mag compatibility, an adjustable cheek piece, and adjustable recoil pad with spacers that are included. M-lock slots in the front and polymer panel construction. So let's see what else we got here. Max barrel diameter, in case you're interested, is 1 inch 250. And we have a cheek riser height adjustment of 1 inch 370 and an overall length of 32.2 inches. So awesome chassis, you guys. I really like it. I've been trying to get one here in the shop for a little while and finally got my hands on one. Now I think I'm gonna buy a long action one for another build. So moving forward, let's talk about the receiver next. All right guys, we'll go over the action now. So for this build, we're using an Aero Precision Solus action. This is Aero Precision's new offering to the precision rifle market. These came out several months ago. Very, very impressive action. They retail at $899, which is the special thing about this action. They come in several $100s less than some of the other alpha actions out there, like our Defiance actions, Terminus actions, all these other ones, which are awesome actions, but bang for the buck, just like I said about the MDT chassis, you can't beat this action. I was hesitant at first to get one of these. I didn't think it would live up to the hype. I got one in my hands and right away within 30 seconds I could see what the hype was about. The action's smooth, it has positive extraction, it has a lot of great features that I'll go over here in a second, but Aero Precision did their homework, and the only thing that I would like to see differently is some offerings with different bolt faces and maybe a long action version of this, which from what I understand is in the works. So this is a 473 bolt face, so your typical 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6 Creedmoor family of cartridges. Let's go over some of the specs now and it'll shed a little bit more light on what we have in front of us. The action is a typical Remington 700 footprint action, meaning you have a lot of compatibility with it, with chassis, with triggers, with a bunch of other good stuff. It has an integral 20 MOA rail on top. It has an integral recoil lug. It's a magnum size ejection port, which I think was Aero Precision's kind of way to future-proof this action if they want to run a short action magnum or something in this action later on with a different bolt head. So it is able to feed and eject cartridges up to 3 inches even cartridge overall length, and it's compatible with AICS and AW detachable box magazines, which is awesome. So the 3-lug makes AW magazine compatibility very, very nice if you want to run those magazines. The trigger's installed with a little hanger system, which in the past, and I'm talking 20 years ago, I had some issues with an action that used trigger hangers. This one, I have no issue at all. This has a Trigger Tech special trigger in it, set at about 1 pound. It bolted right in, and it was extremely easy to do so. The little pins press in with your hand, and the whole thing slides up into the bottom of the action, and it's secured with a little lip on one side and an Allen set screw on, or an Allen screw on the other side. Go into the bolt now. We have a 60-degree bolt throw. It's a 3-lug action like I mentioned before. It has dual ejectors. This thing kicks brass out like you wouldn't believe. And it's a cock on lift bolt design. Receiver body is made out of 416 stainless steel, nice choice. The bolt is 17.4 stainless steel and the firing pin is S7 tool steel. So all great materials used for the construction of the action. And as far as compatibility goes, this is where it gets kind of cool. I like this idea. This is a small shank Savage threaded tenon. So that's a mouthful. So this is compatibility with all the Savage small shank barrels. And you can also shoulder fit a barrel onto this action as well. So the traditional gunsmith type fit where the barrel is shouldered and torqued onto the action. However, I have a Proof Research pre-fit barrel on it set up for a Savage small shank. This is a 6.5 Creedmoor barrel, and I just use the barrel nut that comes with the receiver. So very cool stuff. One thing about the action though is, we'll get into the specs here. Let's see, it's 36 ounces. So if you're looking to build a lightweight hunting rifle, this is not the action for you. Some of the other lightweight actions out there, they'll shave, man, close to a pound off of this action's weight. That being said, this action is burly. It is not gonna go anywhere. The build construction is overkill. It's very, very well made. It's very well machined. The fit and finish is nice. The coating is nice. It has a nice side bolt release, a nice cock indicator on the back of the bolt here. And overall, the package is just really nice for what you get for 899 bucks. So I will be making a lot more of these in the future. All right guys, moving on to the barrel. You guys know I'm a big fan of Proof Research barrels. Had great luck with them, and I've built some absolute hammers using their barrels lately. Rifles that shoot well above what they should. So this is a 20-inch carbon fiber Sendero Contour Proof Research barrel, 8 twist, chambered in 6.5 Creedmoor, threaded Savage small shank, and we have the barrel nut here like I mentioned before. So this barrel is compatible with anything that has the Savage small shank threads. Proof does a great job doing the chambering on these barrels, by the way. At the very end of it here, we have a gunsmith fit 3-port brake. This is not just torqued onto the barrel and off and running. These are timed to the barrel, so there is no timing washers or anything used to correctly time the orientation of the brake. Aside from that, when I put these on a barrel, the barrel is dialed into the lathe with the same accuracy and precision that I would if I was chambering a barrel, because I believe everything that happens at this end is as critical as what happens here up at the breech. So the barrel is axially and radially aligned with the center of the bore to within usually under 0.2 of 1/1000th of an inch. So extremely tight tolerances. After that, the barrel is pre-drilled and then single point cut with a boring bar, so everything is perfectly in line. You have an absolute perfect fit, and they're sized very tight to the bullet diameter, which gives better brake effectiveness and very good accuracy potential. So moving on from there, this is just an old Citron S3. It's not an old scope, but I've had it for a couple years. Great scope. These are fantastic quality. They're made in Japan. Great optical quality, decent reticles. This is a second focal plane scope, and it is a 6-24 by 50 MOA scope, and we have a vortex bubble level installed there. Down here we have the traditional good old Harris SBRM bipod. I love these things. I have Atlases, Skypods, the MDT ground pods, everything else out there. I love these Harris bipods still. They hold a special place in my heart. This is kind of what I started out with long time ago, and we have a KMW pod lock on it here to tighten up the cant ability on the bipod. But overall, you guys, I shot this rifle and it shoots lights out. It shoots beyond what I ever thought it would. So I put 20 rounds through this rifle, and I do that to most of the rifles that I build just to check and make sure that my work lives up to my reputation. So a couple rounds to get on target. I give the rifle a couple rounds to kind of settle in with the new barrel and everything and settle into the chassis. And then I shoot groups, and usually just shoot a couple groups, and that's good enough. That'll tell me what the rifle is capable of doing. First group I put through this rifle was 1/8 of an inch center to center for 3 shots at 100 yards. Couldn't believe it. Literally one ragged hole with factory Hornady match ammo, 140 grain ELDM bullets. So I went on and I had some 147 grain factory Hornady match ammo, and I had a group that, I'll have to look it up, but it was right over 3/8 of an inch. Again, fantastic and more than I would ever expect from this setup right here. Moving on, I shot some of my reloads through it. I had 4 that went in just under 1/2 of an inch, and then a 5th one that was kind of a flyer. So this rifle doesn't like my 6.5 Creedmoor reloads, but it loves the factory Hornady white box ammo. So shoots incredibly well. During that time, I was very critical of the action. So I paid attention to how the action operation felt, the smoothness of the bolt, the cocking effort, and everything else. Very impressed. I'll get some close-ups here in a second, a little video of the bolt operation, but it runs like butter. It is so smooth. The, let's see, everything worked great on the action though. The extraction, the cocking, the picking up the rounds from the magazines, zero problems whatsoever. The action ran great and the rifle shot extremely well. So this rifle is actually for sale, and this is going to be very similar to a line of rifles that I'm going to build. And I don't want to call this a budget rifle, because by no means is this a budget rifle. But this is what I'd call a semi-custom rifle. So some of these parts are bolt-on parts, like the pre-fit barrel. There's some gunsmith work done up here at the muzzle end, but for the most part, this is kind of a semi-custom rifle, which is very popular these days. You see a lot of pre-fit barrels and actions that will accept pre-fit barrels. So that's kind of the direction that this whole thing is going. So if you guys are interested in a rifle like this or this specific rifle, go ahead on over to the website. I'll have some information up on how you can buy this and some of the details on it in case you're curious what it would cost, and we can go from there. But hope you guys enjoyed this. Now stay tuned, and I'll throw some videos up of shooting this rifle and just showing you guys how smooth this bolt runs. It's very impressive. Anyways, that's it. Stick around and watch these next few videos, and we'll see you next time. Thanks guys.